Okay, everyone, picking up where we left off. If you are watching the video of this, then just push pause. I've already had the class start doing this exercise 2 where we left off. All right, so this is to refresh our memory about the conditional statement. Before I worry about the conditional statement, what do I need to do a column for first? PVQ, which is P or Q. So as I'm writing this down, remind me, okay, this gives us a chance to review. Where is the or statement true? When does that happen? Either one is true. Perfect. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to use my finger here for the P or Q. And so when either one is true, so we've got true or true, good, true or true, true or false, true or false, false or true, false or true. So we're going to see that the first 6 rows all have a true. The last 2 are false. The conditional statement, that's the only thing I need to do. The conditional statement, remember, is the only statement that order matters. All the other 4, we haven't talked about the biconditional yet, but when we do, the order doesn't matter for it. Order didn't matter for the conjunction or the disjunction. So I like to just make sure that I'm going in the right order. So since the P or Q column we just did is my condition, the R is the consequence. That means I'm going in this direction right here. Remind me, because I know this is the tough one to learn. What is the only condition under which the conditional statement is false? True is first, and then what's second? False. Yeah, just to refresh our memory again, the only time the conditional is a false statement is when you've met the condition. Remember my example, you got a 95, and then the consequence was you did not get the A. Okay, that is the only time the conditional statement is going to be false. All the other times it is true, it is working. So as I go in my order, here we go from P or Q over to R. So I go from true to true. So what's the net result there? Yep, great. Then I go from true to false in the second row. What's the net result there? That's the one, the condition is true, and then the consequence is false. So this is, I got the 95, I did not get the A. So that's the false one right there. Then I go from true to true. You already told me that was true. I go from true to false. Again, that's the false one. True to true. True to false. Once again, false. False to true. And then this was the one that we just have to get used to. When the condition is false, that means that this conditional statement does not apply. And so it's automatically the truth value is true. And there's our truth value for that. I'm going to flip the page. Just one more statement involving the conditional. Just again to get practice. So I'm going to give you 2 or 3 minutes to make some progress with that. Just to give us all a nudge on where to start. What is the first thing that attracts your attention about this one? Okay, yeah, I've got to start in the parentheses, and then yeah, in the parentheses, I need a negation column. So you need a negation of P column if you haven't already done that. and then you're going to do the conditional statement in the parentheses, and then finally you'll do the and are outside. So there's going to be 3 columns that you need to do. So I'm going to start with the squiggly P column. Remind me again, as just a method of review here, what does the negation do to this column over here? Opposite. Perfect. Well said. So all the T's are going to become F's, all the F's become T's. So perfect. So F, 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 and then 4 T's. Perfect. And we're on the road. Okay, here's the new bit in the parentheses. I've got to do the conditional. So squiggly P, then Q. So once again, just because I want you to verbalize, because that helps short-term memory become long-term memory, when I do my conditional statement from P to Q, what is the only situation in which the conditional statement's going to be false? I'm sorry? When it's true, then false. Yes, we're getting there, and that's okay. We're learning. It's a process. True, then false. That is the only time the conditional statement is false. So here we go. I've got false. Well, when the condition is false, it doesn't matter what the outcome is. It's going to be true. Outcome is false, or excuse me, condition is false. Doesn't matter what the outcome is. So these first 4, since the condition is false, the conditional statement is going to have a true value. Then the next ones, I've got true, then true, true, then true, and then it's not till the last 2, true, then false, true, then false. That is the one that gives us the problems. You met the condition, you did not get the result. All right, so we're almost done with this problem. Now I'm going to take what we just did and I'm going to and it with R. So I'm going to put a little asterisk here and a little asterisk here just so I can keep it sort of straight. And now the and statement. We haven't done one of these yet this morning. When is the and statement true? Perfect. Yes, I love it. Okay, so here we go. True and true. False and true, that's not both. True and true is both. False and true, that's not both. True and true, false and true, true and false and false. So the first, the third, the 5th row should be true for you. The other ones are not. We did one of these in the last section, so we'll do one here. I think I have one for the biconditional as well if there's time. So again, our goal in this whole process is we want to learn more about valid arguments. So this is kind of the initial process that you're going to endeavor in. So first thing I want you to do, we'll take this in phases. Here's our statement. If you use top power, there's a comma, notice that, then you will not feel tired and you will get a solid workout. So here's what I would like you to do first is define the 3 simple statements that we're going to use. P, Q, R, what are they? I'm sorry? Exactly. Thank you for reminding us when we define our simple statements, we always define them without a negation in them. Perfect. Yep. So I'm just going from left to right here. The first one is going to be you use top power, whatever that is. You use top power. And then as I was told, it was a perfect observation. This next statement is you will not feel tired, but we always define our simple statements positively. So it will be you will feel tired, which would not be good workout powder or whatever this is. And then last but not least, you will get a solid workout. So that is the claim. So you will those are our three simple statements we're going to use. Once you've written those down, please off on the side. This is what we did in our very first section. Take this statement in words and write it in symbols, please. All right, so my statement starts off with the word if. I'm circling that. Anytime we start with the word if, we know we have what kind of statement? The other one, not the conjunction, the conditional statement. Okay, we got the arrow. It's an if-then statement. Perfect. So I'm going to start with that arrow because of the if. And notice this comma. This is the other thing to pay attention to. That comma divides my statement into two parts. Remember, the comma means grouping when there's more than one statement on a side. So to the left of the comma, how many statements do I have to the left of the comma? Just one. So I'm just going to put P over here on the left of the arrow. There's only one statement there. To the right of the comma, to the right of the then statement, I have two statements. I have you will not feel tired, so that's squiggly Q, and you will get a solid workout, so that's R. And because both of those statements are on the same side of the comma, I have to put a parentheses around it. That is all the consequence. All right, so one last time, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and get started with your truth table for that. This will be probably the last conditional we'll do in this section. We're going to talk about the biconditional right after this. No. So the question, if you didn't hear, is do we need a squiggly P? And the answer is no, because our statement P is positive up here. You will use top power. The only squiggly I need is right here, right above the Q. So you'll need a squiggly Q column. Great question. So we do need to start with the parentheses. And in the parentheses, I got a squiggly Q. So you told me a minute ago, the squiggly just changes, gives me the opposite value. So I'm just going to go down the Q column. I'm hoping this is what you did. If you got anything different than 2 Fs, 2 Ts, 2 Fs, 2 Ts, let me know so we can talk about it. This is an and, so I'm going to take the squiggly Q and the R. So help me go down this column. So here's the squiggly Q and the R. So what's this first row going to be? The and is true when both are true. Okay, if this was or, the or is true when either one. Okay, so this one is true and false, so that's going to be false. How about the second row? Yep. How about the third row? Fourth row? Perfect. Fifth row? Sixth? Seventh? And the eighth. Perfect. Okay, the and statement is true. The way I keep those straight in my mind, I know it's hard to keep all these symbols. This looks like the beginnings of an A, right? It's an upside down V, but it looks like if you were drawing a capital A, you'd start there. That's how I remember that that's the symbol for the and. Okay, so that works for me. It might not work for you, but figuring out a way to remember that is going to be good for you. So here we go. We're at the very end. The last thing, the conditional statement. Again, I got to make sure I know what order I'm going in. So I'm going to go in this direction right here from the P column to that column we just did. One more time. This is the last time I'll ask this morning. When is the conditional statement false? What are the conditions? Starts as, ends as, perfect. True then false is the only false one. Everything else is true. So here we go. My first row, I've got T then F. So that's false. The next one, T then F again. So that is, again, false. Yes. The next one, T then T. Perfect. T then F. And then the last four all start with an F. So the conditional statement's going to be true in every one of them. Yes. That's the funky one. Perfect. You're doing great. All right. Very last of our basic truth facts. So the things to remember, last time in the last section 3.2, we talked about the negation, the conjunction, disjunction. Before we paused for a couple days, we did the conditional. Here's the last one, the biconditional. The biconditional, remember, is the if and only if statement. And what the biconditional is telling us is that we have two conditions, we have two consequences. So here are my four possible things that can happen. So what the biconditional says is you can really break this down and you can say P then Q, and then you can say, oh, and also Q then P. So that's really what the biconditional is saying, just with one arrow that has arrowheads on both ends. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the top and the bottom ones because I think that they are the quickest. So first, let's go this direction with this first row. If I go P then Q, true then true, what's the result of that? True. If I turn around now, I'm going backwards now. If I go Q then P, if I go true then true this way, what's the result? So both ways it's true, so this is a true statement. I'm going to go down to the bottom here. So again, I'm going left to right. I'm going to go from P to Q. When I go false to false, that is, with the conditional statement, it's going to be true. That's kind of the goofy one. Anything that starts false is going to end up being a true net value. So then when I turn around and I go from Q to P this way, I go from false to false again. What is the result there? So it's true both ways again. So this one's true. Now these other ones, when I go from P to Q, from true to false, what happens? True to false in my conditional statement, that is the false one. So I don't need to go any further. So it's going to be false. And then on the last one, when P is false, Q is true. So when I go from P to Q, when I go from left to right, false to true, what is the result of that statement? True. Now when I turn around, okay, now I'm looking at it backwards. Now I go T to F. What is that statement? Okay, so since it's false that way, this is false. In the biconditional? Exactly. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's make sure that we're clear on that. In the biconditional, if the statements are the same, it's true. But if only one of them is false, okay, is how I'm understanding what you said. If only one of them is false, then it's false. Yes. Okay, so the way that I've locked that one into my brain is in the biconditional, if the statements have the same value, it's true. If they have different values, it's false. That's a nice way to summarize it. Okay, so what I would like you to do, your second to last truth table for this section, or maybe not. You're doing good though. You're doing good. We're almost to the finish line here. I know it's a lot of T's and F's. Okay, so go ahead and do this exercise 5 for me, please. All right, so once again, I'm starting out in the parentheses. And so I did the squiggly P column. The squiggly P just changes the values. So if P is 4 trues, 4 falses, squiggly P is the reverse. Okay, so one more time, we've got an and statement here. Okay, so for this and statement, I've got squiggly P and R. So here we go. Here's my squiggly P. Here's my R column right above my finger. The and statement's true when they're both true. So first row is what? Second row? Third row? Fourth row? Fifth? Sixth? There's a false and a true. They both have to be true. The seventh row, and then the last row. Okay, perfect. And then finally, we're going to now use the biconditional with column Q and that column we just created, the P, squiggly P and R. Biconditional, remember, is true when both have the same value. So I've got Q and I've got this row right here. So the first one is TF, so the result is going to be false. Here we have TF again, FF, FF, TT, TF, FT, and finally FF. Perfect. You're doing great. So, okay, yeah, we've got plenty of time. We're doing great. So let's do this. I'm just going to give you about 3 or 4 minutes. I want you to make as much progress. I'm going to leave you to it. We've gone step by step through a couple of these. So you're going to do 3 things for me. You're going to define the simple statements. You're then going to write what we have in words as symbols, and then get started with the truth table and do as much as you can. So just to get you started, we're going to do the first 2 steps, then I'll give you another minute or 2 to do as much as you can. I've defined the simple statements, just reading left to right. So we have if the dam holds, so I let P be the dam holds, then we can go fishing. So Q is we can go fishing. And then if and only if the pole is not broken. So the pole is broken. There's no not in there. That's important. So again, this starts off with an if. So if means that it's a conditional statement. So I'm going left to right. So on the, also notice there's a comma. Okay, so the comma has grouping. So if the dam holds, so that is P, then we can go fishing. So if the dam holds, then we can go fishing. So if P, then Q. Both of those are on the same side of the comma. Okay, so commas mean grouping, so I'll put those in parentheses. And then if and only if the pole is not broken. So the pole is broken is R, so that's squiggly R. So there is my statement that I need to do the truth table for. If P, then Q, that's on the same side of the comma. That's why it is grouped in parentheses. So in the parentheses, I have if P, then Q. That's the conditional statement. I've asked you this like 9 times today. The conditional statement is only false when you have true then false. So going down the P and the Q column, I have true then true. So that's true. True then true. It's true. True then false. It's false. True then false is false. The last 4 statements all start with a false. So it does not matter what the consequence is. The truth value of the entire statement is true. The squiggly R changes the R column, so all the trues become falses, all the falses become trues. So we alternate here. And now we're connecting those with the biconditional. So this is my last column. The biconditional is true when they have the same truth value. Okay, so I'm going to go down these 2 orange columns. Any ones that have the same truth value is going to be true. Anyone that have different is false. So true if and only if false. True if and only if true. That's going to be good. False if and only if false. False if and only if true. True and true false. So that is going to be a false one. True true. It's true. True false. And then true true. And there we have our result. Again, I know this is goofy, and I know that logic is not necessarily how we're used to processing things. Okay, but once you know those 5 basic truth table facts and you get those internalized, even though there's more rows here, it's just the same thing every time. All right, so just a couple more quick little things. We're just about done with this section, and you're thinking, well, that's great. I'm tired of this section. So just a couple things. This is going to prepare us for when we come back next time and we begin to talk about arguments at long last. So a compound statement, when you do your truth table and you have a compound statement that is always false, no matter what the conditions are, okay, that is called a self-contradiction. On the flip side of that, you can have a compound statement that's always true. When you have a compound statement that's always true, it's called a tautology. T-A-U-T-O-L-O-G-Y, tautology. That means something is true, no matter what the values of the initial conditions are. And then what's going to concern us is a specific kind of tautology. Okay, so this last one is a specific kind of tautology, meaning something that's always true. It's a tautology based on a conditional statement. And when you use a conditional statement that always gives you truth, that is called an implication. When you use the word implies, if you've ever used that, if you've said this implies that, then you are saying that this is always true. Okay, that's what the word implies or implication is meaning. So last thing for the day, notice, or not for the day, for this section, notice there's only 2 simple statements here, even though we've got some grouping. I want you to do the truth table and determine if this is a self-contradiction or implication. Since this is a conditional statement, because of this if-then right here, you wouldn't say, if it is, you wouldn't say it's a tautology, you would use implication on this. Just to give you a little hint, you should have 2 columns to do this. You have a column for the parentheses, and then you're going to have a column for the conditional statement. In the parentheses, I have an or statement. Or statements are true, and either one of the statements are true. So in the first row, I've got true or true, so true. Second row is true or false, so true. False or true in the third row, so true. And then the last one, false or false. So now Yes, false, exactly. So now I'm going to do the I'm going to do the conditional statement. We're going to see if this is a contradiction or an implication, or neither of those two things, if there's a mix. So my conditional statement, the order matters. I'm going in this direction right here. So the first one, I've got true then true. Next one, true then true. Next one, false then true. And last one, false then false. And you notice we've got a column that is all truths. That is we can in general call that a tautology, but since this is based on a conditional statement, we're going to be a little more specific, and we're going to call this an implication.